This is a story where Saul met the prophet, the legit prophet of that time, a great prophet of that time, the seer of that time, and he has been anointed. And after being anointed to be king, then he's given a direction of what will start happening after receiving the oil. And he prophesies in his life. And after prophesying, guess what he said in his prophecy? This is the content of his prophecies. Verses 5 only. We can just read verses 5. He has anointed him. And now he's given him a prophecy of what will happen. It says, after that, thou shalt come to the hill of God. Please mark that word. You will come to the hill of God, the mountain of God. It says, where is the garrison of the Philistines? And it shall come to pass, when thou art come thither to the city, that thou shalt meet a company of prophets coming down from the high places with psaltery and tablet and the pipe and the harp before them, and they shall prophesy. It says, and the Spirit of the Lord will come upon thee, and thou shalt prophesy with them, and thou shalt be turned into another man. Now, I want you to get the top part of this verse, where it says, after that, thou shalt come to the hill of God, where is the garrison of the Philistines. Praise be to God. Briefly, I want to preach on something that I've captioned, the spirit of influence. The spirit of influence. Help me preach it to your neighbor if you can. The spirit of influence. The spirit of influence. What is influence? Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, of the effect itself. What is influence? Influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, the development of the behavior of someone or something. Influence is to have an impact on every strata of the society. On every strata of the society. Influence is the ability to cause things or people to subscribe to your ideologies without forcing them. The capacity to have impact on people, to have impact on things, or growing to a level where things and people subscribe to your way of life, subscribe to your school of thoughts, they subscribe to your character in all stratas of the society without pushing them or forcing them. That is influence. In those days, a child, whenever something happens to that child and it begins to behave in a particular way, they would call it group influence. And if you look at it critically, it was not necessarily that that group was forcing your child to do something. No. They were just doing it. But because they had impact on his life, he found himself flowing and flocking to their way of lifestyle. That is influence. Influence is when you begin to do something and others begin to follow you. Others begin to do what you are doing, whereas you didn't force them. You didn't push them to do that. They just found themselves doing what you are doing. And that is influence. Are you with me? Now, the Bible is telling us something here. This is my introduction of the message that is going to be so broad. Please get it. If the church can only get this message, then everything is going to be okay. Please get this. Listen to this message with 4 of your ears. Glory be to God. What I mean is your physical ears and your spiritual ears both must hear. The Bible says something. Saul, he's not a king at that time. He's just an ordinary human being. He meets a man of God who is a prophet of the Lord. And when he meets the prophet gives him a prophecy, or rather series of prophecies. Then he anoints him. And after anointing him, he then gives him a prophecy of what will start happening and events that will start unfolding. And in the content of the prophecies, there is a part that is lucrative, that is key, that we need to understand and explain. He tells him that the first thing that will happen, he says, when you leave this place, as you'll be going there, by Rachel's sepulchre, you are going to meet a group of people. They're going to be carrying 3 bread. You remember what he said? These people, and when you meet them, the first thing they'll tell you to say, whatever you're looking for, I think the first people are going to tell you that whatever you're looking for has been found. All right? Because he was looking for the donkeys. He says, your donkeys have been found. Now, your father is no longer worried about the donkeys. He's now worried about you. Let me just give them to you. The first thing that he said is that when you leave this place, when you go by Rachel's sepulchre, you are going to meet people that are going to tell you that the donkeys you were looking for have been found. Your father is no longer worried now about the donkeys, but he's worried about you. He said, but then there's another group of people that you're going to meet. They'll be going to worship, and they'll be carrying 3 goats. They'll be carrying 3 goats, 3 bread, and they're going to share this and this and this. And he said something that I want us to look at right now. He says, and when you leave thereafter, you get to a place where there is the hill of God, where there is a mountain of God. And by the mountain of God, he says that is where the garrison of the Philistines is. You will meet a company of prophets. When you leave this place, you will get to the place which is called the mountain of God, the hill of God. And at the hill of God, there is a structure there. There is an identification mark that is called the garrison of the Philistines. There is a garrison of the Philistines. So this place is a mountain of God. This place is a hill of God. And at the hill of God, there are people that have occupied it. And the people are called the Philistines. And these people have built a garrison there. You might not get a conundrum here, but let me just try to explain something here. A garrison is like a tower, a strong tower. It is like a building, like a barrack. It is a stronghold. It is like a barrack. I'm just giving a modern explanation. Like a barrack where the armies are, where the army people, where people in the military camp and live, where their ammunitions, where their missiles, where their weapons of mass destructions are. That is a garrison. In those days, a garrison was like a strong tower where soldiers and warriors, where weapons of the army used to be kept, where strong men used to be, where strong men that are defending the city used to be. That is a garrison. So already we are seeing a picture here that this is a mountain of God. And on the mountain of God, there is a garrison. And the garrison is that of the Philistines. Now, the Philistines are people that do not pray. These are the enemies of God. The enemies of the children of God. The enemies of the children of Israel. And these are the ones that used to be called the Philistines. You remember Goliath in the book of 1 Samuel chapter 17? Goliath was a Philistine. And he came to terrorize Israel. He was even insulting the God of Israel. That is Goliath. Goliath is coming from the Philistines. The Philistines were the enemies of God. At some point, it is the Philistines that actually stole the Ark of the Covenant and put it before their god called Dagon. That is the Philistines. And Israel suffered what is called an Ichabod. So let us understand who the Philistines are. Are you with me here? So the Philistines in these modern days would call them the worldly people. The people that do not pray. The people that do not follow the ways of God. And there is something that we see here. He is being taught that when you leave, you get to a place. There is a hill of God. There is a mountain of God. And at the mountain of God, there are people that are camping there. And the people have built a stronghold at the mountain of God. They have put a garrison. And the people that have put up a garrison are Philistines, enemies of God, worldly people. Now, if it is a year of God, then that garrison would have been to the Israelites. But instead, the garrison was for the Philistines, for the enemies. Why is the mountain of God having a garrison that is not of God? Having a garrison that is of the enemies? Why is the mountain of God having a stronghold, that of the enemy? This is the mountain of God. Why is it that the enemies have taken hold of that mountain? Why is it that the enemies have built a stronghold at the mountain of God? There is something that is wrong somewhere. There is something that is wrong somewhere. And when I was reading this scripture and I was reading this chapter, I realized that this is exactly what is happening in these days. The mountains of God have been taken over by the people of the world. And because the people of the world have realized the importance of taking the mountains, they are the ones that are in control of this strata. They are the ones that are in control of whatever is happening in the society. They are the ones that are influencing people negatively. They are the ones who have got a voice because they are sitting on the mountain. And on that mountain, they have got weapons of mass destructions. They have got ammunitions. They have got all these intercontinental ballistic machines. They have got all these general purpose machines, the rocket launchers, and all these. They have got all sorts of AK-47s at the mountain of God. So believers don't have a say because a place where believers were supposed to occupy has been occupied by people of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, there is something that is called a mountain of God. There is something that is called the mountain of God. What do you think Caleb was praying for? That should be Joshua chapter 14, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, Caleb asked, he said, give me this mountain. Of all things that he could have asked for, of all things that he would have asked for, he said, give me this mountain. Why? Because he understands the power of the mountain. He understands what a mountain can do. He asked for a mountain. You people remember what Moses said. You remember how we fought battles. I am stronger than I was 40 years ago. He says, now give me this mountain. He didn't want a land. At that place, ladies and gentlemen, there was a forest. There was a good field. There was an orchard. There was a vineyard. And the man, in his right senses, he would choose a mountain. Why would he choose a mountain? Why should he choose a mountain? It is hard to build at the mountain. You can't cultivate at the mountain. And the man says, give me this mountain. Others were bisecting land and they needed a mountain. That wasn't a physical mountain. A mountain is a place, it's a tower where people disseminate information in order to display their influence on societies. There is something that is called a mountain. And any person that ascends on that mountain has influence. There are things that are called mountains. These are sectors and stratas of the society that are called mountains. And whoever climbs on that mountain, whoever is on top and in charge of that mountain has got a measure of influence. And depending on their characters and their beliefs and their morals and their attitudes and attributes, they would either have a negative impact on the society or a positive impact on the society. There are people right now as we speak who have got influence on certain mountains. And they have got negative influence on your children. They are controlling your children and you don't have a say over your children. They are controlling your life and you don't have a say. They are controlling your finances and you don't have a say. They are controlling everything that concerns you and you don't have a say. So today we are going to be considering 7 mountains of influence. There are 7 places that are called mountains of influence. There are 7 mountains of influence. And whoever has dominion over these places has dominion on the face of the earth. Whoever has power over these mountains, in any of these mountains, has got power on earth. He is a voice, he is a force that you can never be able to ignore anyhow. He is a voice, he is a force that is worthy to be identified with. This is a force that is worthy to be reckoned with. There are 7 mountains of the society. These are called 7 mountains of influence. And we are going to be sharing one-on-one. I think maybe for the next 3 weeks will be done. Look at your neighbor, say neighbor. The 7 mountains of influence. Let me give you all of them, then we are going to be sharing them as time goes on. The first mountain is the mountain of religion. The mountain of religion. The mountain of religion. Religion. We are talking about Islam here. We're talking about Hinduism. We're talking about Buddhism. We're talking about Christianity. We're talking about all these religions. People that have got a say, who has got influence, who has got authority and dominion in these mountains, has dominion on the earth. Today, the Pope is one of the most powerful men in the world. Not because he's got a PhD in mathematics or in biology, but because he has got influence. He's got dominion in one of the mountains that is called the mountain of religion. He's got influence on the mountain of religion. We'll explain it better. The second mountain is the mountain of education. 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 These are pace setters. These are people that shape our children. These are people that mold our children in the way they want them to go. Education. Education is very powerful. We are going to teach this whole subject at once. It's called the mountain of education. The mountain of education. What your child is being taught at school will either make that child make impact or become useless. Education is very powerful, that it has a power to control people. That's the reason why in one of my teaching, I want to teach on the miseducation of Africa. The education system of Africa, there's a problem there that we need to work on. The education system of Africa, we were never taught to be independent and to be rich. The education system of Africa, they made sure that we were taught how to become civil servants, how to work in a particular way. That is the education of Africa. They made sure that they didn't teach you how to think, but they teach you what to think and a particular way to think. That is the reason why even our leaders in society, they would boast to tell you, say, we are thinking outside the box. Let us think outside the box. My question is, what box is that? We even brought the box. Why should we think and there's a box? Already, we are taught that we are in the box. Who put us in that box? What about thinking without the box? What about whenever we are thinking, there shouldn't be a box somewhere? No, we don't want a box whenever we are thinking. Who is confining us? Who is limiting us? I've heard of leaders, let us think outside the box. What are we even doing in that box in the first place? Who locked us in that box? So the education system is very powerful. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. The curriculums that are in Africa, in Zambia in particular, they have to be changed. Those things that they were teaching us about a locust, they are teaching us the chest of a locust, this is a thorax, this is a wing, this is what, they should change. Those things are useless. They are not helping us in any way. They are not helping us in any way. Up to now, ladies and gentlemen, I've never seen the importance of me looking at a locust. It has not helped me in any way. So you see, this is the chest of a locust. What is the use of a chest of a locust? When our friends in China, they were teaching them how to make a phone, how to control network, how to come up with 5G. We were learning on a locust. And you would fail if you don't label the locust very well. You won't even go to grade 8 if you fail to label a locust. Our education system has to change. In one of the books, they were asking a question, say, what's the function of the head for grade 3, grade 2? And they said the function of the head is to carry loads, to carry water, to carry things. It's there even up to now if we check very well. Imagine your child is being taught that the use of the head is to carry water, to carry loads. Imagine your child is being taught like that. They are not even being taught that the head is to think. So your child will have a head and he just thinks that the only thing he can use is to go to APG and start carrying 5 bags of mealie meal, bags of cement on that head. That is what your child is being taught. You don't know. Go through the things of your child. The other time I was looking at my young brother in his book. I was looking at what he was being taught. I called the teacher. I said, are you sure this is right? And the teacher, guess what the teacher said? He said, sorry, I made a mistake. A lot of wrong stuff. I said, no, this doesn't make sense. The curriculum is wrong. And it has to be considered. So even the mountain of education has to be considered. We'll talk about the mountain of education later. Number 3 is the mountain of family. The mountain of family. The family where you come from determines how far you will go. I'll explain on the family very well. Children that are coming from a broken home have got a certain way of looking at things in life. The way your mother and your father are relating right now is almost the same way you're going to be relating with your wife. If as a child you have been seeing your father beating your mother, chances are that if you're not going to be corrected, you'll be beating your wife as well. Trust me, that's how it is. That is how it is. The reason why people are complaining that African men are not loving, they're not romantic, it is because of how we are raised up. How many of you saw your father just coming from work and he hugs your mother, pecks your mother, and all this thing? Just even a thought of it. A thought of it doesn't even make sense. Imagine your father being hugged by your mother and being pecked. And you sit as a family, you're having dinner. And you hear your father telling your mother that I love you in your presence. How many of you saw one day your father just came, he was happy with a rose flower, and he just gave it to your mother, and your mother smiled, and she kissed your father, and you were just there as children, and you even clapped. That is the reason why, even as your child, a child who is 2 years old, when he watches people kissing, he closes the eyes. Why? Because for him it's a taboo. It shouldn't happen. 2 years old, he's closing the eyes. We need to investigate that boy. What is making him close his eyes? So you see, that's the reason why some of us don't have revelation of rose flowers. No, because we never saw them. Are you understanding what I'm talking about here? So the problem is, whatever impact that we have on the society, it is caused by the family, the upbringing. There is what is called the mountain of family. I'm going to talk about it later. The mountain of family. We'll have a whole day just talking about the mountain of family. Look at your neighbor, say, family is a mountain. The other mountain is called the mountain of media. The mountain of media. That's what we are going to be talking about today. The mountain of media. There's another mountain called the mountain of arts and entertainment. Number 6, the mountain of business and innovation. The mountain of business. The mountain of business. Then number 7, it is the mountain of government and politics. The mountain of government and politics. The church will continue struggling and suffering as long as we believe that politics is a dirty game. If we refuse to participate in politics, and if we begin to look at people that are in politics as devils and demons that we don't want to bring close and come close to, the church will continue moving in this direction that it's moving. We will leave the nation and the land in the hands of greedy and stingy lawmakers who will be making laws to disadvantage the church. Christians must support politicians. Christians must produce politicians. Christians must have politicians that are moving in the fear of the Lord. There is an awakening that just happened in Malawi when we see Reverend Chakwera just becoming the president. Who knew that a pastor can become a president of the nation? Who knew that a God-fearing man can become the president of the nation? Right as I'm speaking, there is chaos in Malawi. There is chaos in Malawi because they have gone after the previous regime and they are arresting all of them who are involved in scandals. The man of God says, I want to clear the country. I want to clean and cleanse the country. The vice president, Dr. Chirima, he was the vice president of the previous regime. And he served the first, second. On the third term, he just came out and says, no, corruption is too much in this government. I am part of it. I'm failing to work. And the man stepped down. And he formed his opposition party. Last elections, they shared votes with the reverend. And he says, no. The man has a vision. Let me join him. And he became the running mate. Abandoned his vision and submitted to that pastor. And today they're in the government. He's the vice president. And he's a vice president, and he's a former vice president as well. He says he knows the people who are doing funny things, who are playing games. He's going after them one by one. Many people have been arrested because there's no money right now in Malawi. So they want people to pay back. They have started paying back. Others are seeking asylum now. They're going to different places. But it's hard because they're under a lockdown. The mountain of politics. I'll teach on the mountain of politics maybe next week. We need to have people here who are going to go into politics. And we need to support people that are politicians who have got God in the mind. Let me stop there. The mountain of politics. Oh, Jesus Christ. Ask your neighbor, have you gotten them? Let us run through them quickly. 1, 2, 3, go. Number 1 up to 7. Let's go. All right. So today let's continue. Let's try to consider media and arts and entertainment. I know a lot of you are wondering, say, but why do we look at that? You understand the reason. Media. Now, the mountain of media, we are talking about the art of public communication. Either electronic or mainstream media. That is media that we're talking about. Social media, electronic media, print media, or mainstream media, which is television and radio station. All of that. It's a mountain. And this is one of the most powerful mountains on the earth today. The mountain of media. The mountain of media. The mountain of media. The church needs to understand and invest in media. The church needs to understand and take media very serious if they are to gain influence on the face of the earth. If we are going to wait for the next season that we are going to make a crusade and evangelize, the kingdom of God is not going to advance the way it's supposed to advance. Media is one of the most powerful platforms that you can use in order to win souls. Door-to-door evangelism, how many years is it going to take for you to visit all the houses in Zambia? Going to the physical mountain to pray, it is good. But if you're going to preach at the mountain, you may find 100 people. But yet on Facebook, as we speak right now in Zambia, we are having over 2.2 million people on Facebook. And Zambia alone is having over 9.7, somewhere there, 9.7 million internet users. 9.7 million internet users as at now. Of which 2.2, over 2.2, the last statistics show that 2.2 million people in Zambia are on Facebook. So it is possible that you can post something on Facebook and it will reach to thousands and thousands of people. And yet, in your church, you can only reach out to maybe to 20 people. The mountain of media. The mountain of media. Why is media so lucrative and so important? It is because that is a channel that disseminates information. And that's why we are linking it to arts and entertainment. Arts and entertainment, we are talking about celebrities. We are talking about musicians. We are talking about actors. We are talking about models. We are talking about graphic designers. These people have got influence. And they shape the paradigms and the narratives. They are the ones that control the narratives. They are the ones that decide what we should see. They are the ones that tell us the stories of the nation. Do you know that if you have read political science very well, if you have read what happens, what they call the coup d'etat, you know a coup d'etat, right? Whenever a coup is happening, there are two places that a person that is running for a coup is interested in. The first thing that a person is attempting to coup the president or to overthrow the government, they have to go to maybe the army general or the generals of this, like in Zambia, we've got Zambia Air Force, we've got Zambia Army, National Services, and we've got the police. So all this, they'll look at who is the topmost. Which one is very powerful? So the topmost in the police is the IG, is it? So they'll go to the IG, but most of the times, they go to the Zambia Army or that of Zambia Air Force. The one who is the authority there. Once they get that person, the second thing that they'll go to is to the media. They need to control the national broadcaster. That is what they're interested in. And they believe that once they take over the media, they have taken over the nation. Do you realize why when it was a peaceful coup that took place in Zimbabwe? When they overthrew Mugabe, do you realize that it became that it is the military that were dictating the narratives? That General Chiwenga is not a media personnel. Why was it that they are the ones, people with uniforms, they are the ones who were dictating, telling the stories of the government? They were all over the media. Why? Because they understand the power of the media. They understand the power of communication. Captain Solo, the one, not Mambalu Chembe, but you know about Captain Solo, the one who almost succeeded on a coup attempt on Chiluba. Why? How did he fail? Because he managed to hijack everything. Then the last stage was now to take over ZNBC. And the man almost took over ZNBC. That's why even he was arrested at ZNBC. Because he knew that if he had taken over ZNBC, he would have taken over the country. So the one who is in charge of the media is in charge of the mind. The people that control the media are powerful because they control the mind. They control how people think. They control what people must hear. So, no matter how you teach your children, you might not find the relevance of this message. But your child right now is being influenced by another person somewhere who is a content creator. But is being influenced by someone who is a movie producer, who is a movie writer. That movie writer has got impact over your children. The one that is producing Ben 10, even if it doesn't know your child by name, but is dictating how your child must think. Right now, as we are talking, under Nickelodeon and the Cartoon Channel, the Cartoon Network is no longer there, I don't know. In Nickelodeon, if you watch very well, there are movies, cartoon movies, which are supporting gay rights, gay cartoons, homosexual cartoons, lesbian cartoons. That is the reason why it's hard nowadays to tell a child. If you have another child and you tell that child that we have bought in ShopRite, you will argue. In those days, if you have your young brother, your mother will go to you and say, no, we just bought in ShopRite, and will be happy. But if you try it and tell your child, then we bought from ShopRite, the child will have said, no, mommy, no, I know this thing. I know you and daddy did small, and I know this thing. They know the truth, not because they have been taught. They have not yet been taught reproduction in school, but they are watching in movies. If you watch those cartoons, you discover there are cartoons right now that they even show children, cartoons having sex. Cartoons, they're having sex, impregnating each other. Cartoons. A cartoon is pregnant and your child is watching. Take time and watch what your children are watching. You'll be surprised. I've seen, because sometimes I watch cartoons a lot. I love the creativity. So sometimes when I watch that, I want to say, is this cartoon, was it made for children in need? So they are dictating how your children are thinking. Your children are arguing with you right now because they have watched somewhere how things are done. Mountain of media is very powerful. And Christians, as long as they continue ignoring this mountain called the mountain of media, the church is never going to gain influence. The church is not going to have momentum. In this technological era, we have got people right now that are not doing anything on media. The numbers that we have right now in church. Do you know that if I do a program on Facebook, our Facebook page under Prophet Kelvin is having over 155,000 people that we are ministering to. And our church is not up to 10,000. And yet I have got 155,000 people that are following. That is how powerful the media mountain is. I'm able to influence people that are outside Africa, people that are outside Zambia, even in countries that I've never been to. Because of the media. If the church needs to up their game, they need to take the media seriously. Why do you think they overcharge and overprice the rates of the media? They don't want you to go there. They don't want you to go there. This is a mountain of God, and it has been captured by people that don't pray. That's the reason why if you go even on Facebook today, things that are trending are things that are not making sense. Explicit content will reach someone within a minute. And the gospel that we are sharing, powerful video that can change someone's life, it will not even go viral in a minute. So all these celebrities that you see, they have mastered the art of the media. Today, you can have a pastor doing a Facebook Live, and you have 10 people watching him. And you have another irrelevant personality in Zambia that just comes here and insults people, talk nonsense, and he goes live and you just see 2,000 people are watching him. Because the church doesn't know how to climb the mountain of the media. Sometimes I would wonder, I'll post a video in this church, a minimum, okay, on a minimum, we have let's say just on a minimum, on average, we are talking about 500 people, on average. If we have 500 people, okay, let's say 200 people. If I post a video on Facebook, it will have maybe 7 people that have shared it. Where are those people? Where is you? Where are those? Just pastors alone, we're having over 50 pastors. Where are the pastors that are taking advantage of the media? That is the reason why people that are in Zambia, socialites, they're just insulting people, talking nonsense, and they're having a lot of following. Why? Because people have built confidence in them. But our own Christians don't have confidence in what we are doing. Because the children of this world are more wiser than that of the church. The media mountain is very powerful. Someone can be insulting and there are 5,000 people watching him. And us sharing the gospel, winning souls to Jesus. You're just having 50 people and you're struggling with those 50 people. Your own members are not even watching you. Because they don't understand the power of media. They don't understand the influence of media. Look at your neighbor. Say, neighbor. The media is a mountain. Tell that to the other neighbor. And tell them that you have to climb this mountain. It is very powerful. Media, arts and entertainment, it's dangerous, I'm telling you. Your child would rather obey Ben 10 than obey his father. Do you realize the reason why if you want to please your daughter or your son on his birthday, you make a Ben 10 cake? If it's a daughter, maybe what is a Sophie cake? There has to be Anna Montana, the Sophie cake. You try it, put the face of the pastor, you argue with your child. Say, no, I don't want Papa on my photo. But your child would follow Ben 10. Even you yourself, when you put your face there, your child don't like it. They are called characters. They want the character. That character, the use of the character is to shape character. So they are role models of your children. That is how powerful arts and entertainment coupled with the media is. Who are those people who are giving us songs that we are singing? Musicians have got the power to even usher the government into office. A political party into governance. I don't want to talk about much details, but you know where I'm going to. You know what I wanted to say? They have the power to release a song. And the song can flow with you and influence you to vote for a party that you didn't even want to vote for. That is the influence of music. Arts and entertainment. I remember when Michael Sutter was campaigning, you remember he came up with a slogan that was released, I think it's by Dandy Crazy, called Don't Kubeva. Where when he saw that corruption was too much and the bribing of the voters, and people were hungry, and there's nothing that he could do to stop them. Because when the politician is coming to a voter, you get money and give a vote and say, vote for me. Imagine he's coming with a 500 kwacha. You haven't eaten anything. You don't know where the next meal will come from. Are you going to refuse that money? You definitely get it. And Michael Sutter realized that, no, we can't stop them. And he came in, he says, when they are giving you money, get. But don't tell them whom you are going to vote for. And they released the song, Don't Kubeba. Everyone was singing and they knew what to do. So we are getting the money, but we still vote for somebody. So the song created a mindset in people that even if they get your money, but they would work against you. And we saw it in 2011, how the PF was ushered into government. A song formed a character in people. Songs are very powerful. Songs are very powerful. They have a role that they play in our lives. They have a role that they play. Do you think advertising companies don't know what they are doing? Do you know that a person can come up with an insurance company and they want to advertise it and market it, and they'll get a footballer to go and advertise it? What has insurance to do with football? You discover just a footballer, you just do the ball, and after that he stands, says, hi, my name is Sambalungu. I with under insurance, this and Madison Insurance Company. And the fact that it is Sambalungu that has said it. So they are tying the psychology of their customers to the influence of the celebrity. If it is a celebrity that has endorsed it, they call it brand endorsement. When a celebrity, the person that has got influence, endorses your product, you will be forced to buy that. I mean, you'd see mineral water, common mineral water. Common mineral water. They would use maybe a celebrity, Angela Nyirenda, would drink mineral water. She would drink, said, my name is Angela Nyirenda. I drink maybe Aqua Savannah. And it goes there. She doesn't drink that at home. She's got other tap water that maybe she's drinking. But I mean, who don't want to drink the same mineral water that Angela Nyirenda is drinking? The love that you have for that celebrity, you find yourself doing what she's doing. That is the power of arts and entertainment. So don't be surprised when you see your son tries to wear the same thing that Shefi is wearing. Because that's the celebrity. So the only way we can be able to help champion revival, it is when we teach our children the right role models to follow, number one. Number two, when we ourselves become those role models, when we take over the arts and entertainment, when we begin to win arts and entertainment people, when we begin to win these socialites that are making noise on Facebook, do you know that, man of God, you can do crusades for 5 years, and yet you have just won maybe 500 souls, and yet Kanye West, you have more revelations than Kanye West. You have got anointing than Kanye West. But when Kanye West just came out and says, I'm a Christian, he went to sing in a prison. For 2 hours, he won 1,000 souls. 1,000 people believed in Kanye West. The influence that Michael Jackson had, the influence that Tupac had, the influence that our Zambian celebrities are having, if they can only mention the name of Jesus, the people that would believe in Jesus are more than that which a man of God can win in a crusade. That is how powerful arts and entertainment is. That is how powerful arts and entertainment is. The power of arts and entertainment when it is coupled with the media. You know the Jesus film, the Jesus of Nazareth, the first one. You know that one? It was produced and written by a man called Bill Bright. Bill Bright. And it costed them the budget of about $6 million to produce the Jesus film. The Jesus film. I think it should be, I can't remember, but it should be like 1979, somewhere there. That's when it was produced. Under the budget of $6 million. Bill Bright, he understood the power of entertainment, arts and entertainment. They had to visit Israel and verify places. And it says by 2002, it met over 5 billion people. 5 billion people watched the Jesus film. 5 billion people. And it says, and it won over 139 million people. Right now, you don't even know Bill Bright. Some of you, but you have watched his film. 139 million people were won to Christ by watching the Jesus film. Produced by a man of God called Bill Bright. Look at the man that took advantage of the arts and entertainment. The people that he couldn't even preach to in his life, they managed to watch his movie and they came to Christ. They gave their lives to Christ. Do you know how many people gave their lives to Jesus after watching The Passion of Christ? The Mel Gibson guys, they did that. And we are not talking about the money, but how many people watched that? Media is very powerful. Media is very powerful. Media is very powerful. That's why we need to start telling our stories now. That is the reason why the church needs to realize the power of media. The power of media. We need to regulate the media for our children. What are your children watching? That's why it's difficult for now for us to control your child, because there's another person that is controlling your children. Do you know what the word media means? It's a plural for the word medium. 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 A medium is something that is standing in between to represent something. If we give you anointing oil to pray for you, the anointing oil is not the Holy Ghost. It is a medium that the Holy Ghost uses to reach out to you. So media, it's a medium, but who is behind the medium? Who is creating the content? Who is creating the narratives? One social media like can affect the whole nation. What about us Christians developing content there? Developing a following there. Some of you that are supposed to be comedians, be comedians. Some of you that are supposed to be actors, be actors. But gain momentum and gain influence. Content creators are very powerful. Someone can be controlling the whole nation, and yet the guy is just maybe in London, he's just hiding on a page somewhere. Just post content on a page. And the whole country can be in chaos because of one fool that is behind an account. Arts and entertainment. There's a man who said this quote. Let me just read it for you. Let me quote it. It says, what is interesting is the power and the impact of social media. He says, so we try to use social media in a good way. We must try to use social media in a good way. Nicola said this. He says, the dark side of social media is that within seconds, anything can be blown out of proportion and taken out of context. And it is very difficult not to get the swept up in it all. What she's trying to say here is that something within a minute, it can be blown out of proportion on social media, and it can change people's view concerning you, and it is very difficult to control the narratives. How can something go out of proportion? It is because somebody somewhere behind it has a problem. Daniel Gorman says, smartphones and social media expand our universe. He says we can connect with others or collect information easier and faster than ever. That is the danger of social media. I love what Malcolm X said. Get what Malcolm X said. Malcolm X said, if we are not careful, the newspaper will have you hating the people who have been oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppression. If you are not careful. Media, it can make you hate people that are actually helping and love the people that are against you helping. Jim Morrison says, whoever controls the media controls the mind. Whoever controls the media is the most powerful person on the earth. Why? Because he controls the masses, the minds of the masses. You can start hating on a man of God because of a lie that you heard on the media. You can start loving the people that are against you and hate the people that are on your side because of the media. So we need to create our own stories. A wise man said, the quote, he said, if lions don't have their own historians, the stories of the hunting will always be praising the hunters. If lions don't have their own historians, if they don't have people who are writing the stories of the lions, who are on the sides of the lions, we will only be praising on the hunters. Not the hunters killed 5 lions. The hunters this. But did we have a guy who can tell us how many people the lions killed? The media. Very powerful. we can reach out to people and change the way people think by this medium called the mountain of the media. By appreciating the power of arts and entertainment. That is the power that is in the media. That is the reason why we are investing a lot in the media, just so that we can tell good stories to people, so that we can narrate what is happening. That is to show you the power that media has. It can cause you to win souls and influence territories. I was telling people that, do you know that in America and other civilized countries like South Africa, if you have a Facebook page which has got a minimum of 100,000 people, 100,000 people, you can go to Mercedes-Benz or BMW, and you can leverage on your page and tell them, I need a Mercedes-Benz for free. They will give you. They will give you. If you have got 100,000 people, they can give you the latest Mercedes-Benz. The only thing they'll tell you is that in a week, make mention of it at least twice. Capture photos on it and post on your page. Because they understand 20,000 people will be seeing what you are doing. You can leverage on the potential that you have. And that is where Zambia is going to very soon. People realizing the power of media. How many of you were listening to Radio 4 this morning? How many of you listened to Radio 4? But you were on social media today. When was the last time you were watching TV seated in your house? How many times? And an average person, it is believed that an average person touches the phone in a day more than 1,000 times. Why do we want to help you? Why do we think, men of God, why do we think we are going to manage to change all these people in a church where they come to once in a week, and on a social media which they check about 500 times per day? If you ask me which one is more powerful, in church here, you come once in a week, Sunday. Wednesday when we resume as well, twice. But on your Facebook, we are always there. So for us to impact people and to win souls, let us register the presence where the people are. I did marketing, and one of the laws of marketing, it is not to sell and wait for people to come and buy, but to follow customers where they are. That is the reason why nowadays, very soon it will become useless to have a shop. People will be buying online and people will be delivering. That's the business that is made. Do you know the reason why Bezos is the richest person in the world right now? It's not Bill Gates, no. It's Bezos. It is believed that by the end of this year or in the next 2 years, the man is going to be a trillionaire. He's going to be a trillionaire. What is his company? Amazon. What is Amazon doing? They are shipping. Shipping agents. They are online store. Let me put it that way. Because people are becoming busy and lazy at the same time. I can't remember the last time I went in a shop to look for what I want to buy. No. I need to check it out online. How much is this? Okay, this. Buy this. And it comes. The other time I was going to South Africa I think 2 months ago, I made sure that I bought everything and ordered before I went there. When I went there, I just arrived, they delivered everything in my hotel. So the duty is to follow the customer where he is. And your customers are right there on social media. Men of God, let's take the gospel to our customers. There are people on the social media. Let us be able to make advertisement serious. Do you know the reason why Africa is where it is now? It is because our stories are only told by whites. When they come here, the only thing they're interested in is people that are sick of polio, children that are sick. They're interested on our masquerades. That's what they're interested in. They want to show our baboons. Because they are trying to create Zambia as if it's a village. I was talking to somebody the other time. Where is you? Are you from Zambia? He thought Zambia was a province in South Africa. I said, no, Zambia. He said, okay, so how does it look? He Googled, he said, man of God, how do you manage to minister on social media in Zambia? I said, what is wrong with you? He said, no, because I looked at Zambia, isn't it like a village? They thought Zambia was a village. Because what they were looking there, you know, as my son available, I don't want to go into details. The inquiry ceremonies, all these kind of things. On a ceremony, imagine a jacket and a dress. Dressing is a sense of okay, let me leave the laws. This is not my tribe. Bembas, you, what are we doing there? That's what they think. Imagine at Kusefia Pangwena. And these are the stories that we are giving people out there. Sometimes do videos. Let me show you how Zambia looks like. Get good hotels there. Get good buildings, good cars, and post them. Let the world know that we are not where they thought we are. That's the reason why a lot of our stories have been perverted. Because they were told by people that are not supposed to tell our stories. We need to start telling our stories by ourselves. We need to start explaining to people. Oh. Let me give you the last point. A question. No, it's not a point. Okay, it's just a PowerPoint. Please get this. Do you think if the disciples of Jesus didn't take media serious, were we going to have a Bible? Because this is print media. Apostle, give me a Bible. This that you are seeing, it's a print media here. This is print media. This is print media. There were people that were following Jesus. And they'll be writing whatever he's doing. And after he went, they produced now called the gospel. And they started preaching them out. That's why we are preaching the gospel now. That's the reason why we are gathered here. Because we had people that were recording what Jesus was doing. They were recording. If the disciples of Jesus were as lazy as you are, right now I'm preaching, some of you are not writing notes. Where are we going to have the Bible? There is a prophet that inspires me so much in the Bible. His name is Jeremiah. Jeremiah had the secretary. In the Old Testament, the name of the secretary was called Baruch. He was writing everything that the prophet was doing. The other time, the prophet was crying and the man was writing the tears of the prophet. He believed in the prophet so much that even as the prophet is crying, the man is recording. And that's why we got the book of Lamentations. You know what lamentation is? It is the crying of the prophet. As the prophet was crying, for him, even the tears of the prophet is prophetic. The guy is writing. This scripture that you like, the message of the Lord I knew every morning. Great is your faithfulness. It was the Lord, the man of God, Jeremiah, who was crying, and Baruch wrote it down. My question is that maybe 100 years from now, maybe if Jesus delays to come, if 100 years from now I'm gone, am I going to have people that are going to still tell people the things that we are doing? Do I have people that are going to explain the stories of how God just lifted up this young man from nowhere and he started prophesying things that have never been seen? How God just raised a young man from the ghetto, picked him up, and he started prophesying in a level that the whole Zambia has never seen. Is there any person that is going to tell my story? Our great-grandchildren, are they going to hear about what we are doing? Are they going to know about testimonies that we are giving? Do you know that what we call the Lord's generals now? God's generals, we talk about these people that died a long time ago. Charles Spurgeon, he lived over 300 years ago. And we're still talking about him today. Charles Spurgeon. The one you talk about, Charles Spurgeon, he lived over 300 years ago. And yet, I think 3 days ago, I was reading about his messages. The messages that I'm preaching right now. Do we have people that are writing them down that they can put them up in written somewhere? I'm telling you, if the disciples of Jesus lived in our days, we could have had videos of Jesus everywhere. Photos of Jesus. Lazarus, the way he was resurrecting from the dead, they could have filmed Lazarus. But the only closest they could get is just to write scrolls. The media is powerful. Some of you cannot preach the way I preach. You cannot prophesy the way I prophesy. But yet God has given you an account. Your account must be able to spread the gospel. How can you be a pastor in MTC and yet you have not managed to influence people on your account just to be able to subscribe to the Lordship of Christ? People are becoming rich by the power of social media, arts and entertainment. I read the other time, there's this artist in Zambia called B-Flow. His music shape changed by one thing. The moment just Obama appreciated him and endorsed him, the guy was all over America, doing shows all over. He was featured on Voice of Africa. Imagine just one endorsement. One endorsement. It changed his life everywhere. Endorsement. Men of God, ask yourself a question. What are you doing on social media? How many souls are you winning? Apart from soul winning, what businesses are you doing on social media? Today, we have got a branch in Namibia. The Prophet Troy and Prophet Timothy, they are pastoring a branch in Namibia right now. How was it born? By Facebook, social media. Never did an advert, no poster. We didn't stick posters, no radio advert, no nothing. I just posted a poster on Facebook. Says I'll be coming to Namibia. That was in 2017. I'll be coming to Namibia. Everyone, a lot of people started writing to me. Prophet, where are you going to be? I said, I don't even know Namibia very well, but I want to come there. No, we can book a hall. This one says this. We went there. We arrived there. The function was starting at 17 hours. We arrived by 02. People were just seated there waiting. Just right now as I'm speaking, you're looking at your watch, you're planning to go. They were seated there. Say, where can we go? The prophet hasn't arrived. We want to see the prophet. Did a meeting, Rundu. Up to now, they're having people, I think over 250 members. A ministry was born on the phone right now. Just on the phone. You think media is do you know the power of media? Do you know the power of media? How can your Facebook page or a Facebook account go for 6 days? You didn't post anything. You don't have anything to post. I have something to post. I post every day. Get what I post, put there. Get my pictures if you don't have good pictures. Use my pictures, put there. Spread the gospel. That's not the content here. I don't know if you understand what I'm teaching here. I'm telling you, because people will be wondering, they said, who is this handsome guy? They would like the pictures. They would think it's you. Glory be to God. Look at your neighbor. Say neighbor. Let us take our product. Tell them, let us take our product to where our customers are. Hallelujah. Glory be to God.
More Than Conquerors family, demonstrating God's power and revealing Jesus.